Hello everyone, good evening and welcome back to part 2 of day 4 of Southeast Asia DeFi Week. We are going to we meant to go and start at 8:30 sharp, okay, but we have Michael Egrov with us and he is extremely tight in his schedule, so we're going to kick it off immediately. We are broadcasting live, okay, directly from Asia Blockchain Center, and we'd like to give again, a good shout out, okay, to all our event partners, okay, all across Southeast Asia who have made Southeast Asia DeFi Week possible. Do stay to the end, okay, for instructions on how to win prizes, because the top 10 best questions that you ask to our speakers throughout the entire day, for day 4, okay, you get to win 10 US dollars worth of DAI tokens. So for those who are tuning in right now, okay, and for the first time, what is DeFi Week all about, and what is DeFi? DeFi, in short, is short for decentralized finance. The simplest definition that we can give, that I can give, of what decentralized finance is an emerging set of financial products that you can use without needing the need for intermediaries. And over these 7 days, we have covered so much, okay, of what are these kinds of tools and technologies. And today, okay, we have 2 sessions. We have Michael Egrov, the founder of Curve.fi, and Fernando Martinelli from Balancer later at 9 p.m. To give a recap, okay, what are all these tools? One of the jargons that you're going to hear very frequently in the space is money Legos, because what these people are doing, they are actually building what we call money Legos, things, okay, that are useful. And you have learned, okay, money markets like Compound and Aave. You have learned decentralized exchanges like Uniswap. You have learned Synths, okay, from Synthetics earlier this afternoon. You have learned money Legos like flash loans, the ability to borrow an uncollateralized loan if you can return it within 15 seconds within a single transaction. So there are all these money Legos, and one of the things that makes DeFi is so interesting and gaining so much traction is because it's demonstrating actual use cases, and something that traditional finance we have never seen before happen in the traditional financial space, which is that of composability. Because the nature of this space is using open, permissionless, censorship-resistant technology. Anybody who has created a new money Lego, which is very extremely useful, can basically take that and then reiterate it, and etc. And over the last few days, you have seen that, and you're going to see some more in the next 3 more days that we have with each other. Now, despite, okay, this being a very exciting space, this is still a very high risk and high uncertain industry. Okay, therefore, none of the content shared throughout Southeast Asia DeFi Week should be treated as financial or investment advice. The purpose of this is to help more people in Southeast Asia to have a place to learn what actually is DeFi, what DeFi is not. What are the actual value propositions, use cases that makes these protocols and projects gain a lot of traction. So today we are going to talk about Curve.finance, and what Curve is. If you remember what Uniswap is, what Curve does is it's also a decentralized exchange, but it specializes on changing stable coins, one stable coin from another stable coin in very efficiently and with very low slippage fees. So if you visit, okay, the platform, okay, it has a quiet taste in terms of the user interface. The community is divided on this. Some people like it, some people don't like it. Okay, I find it very nice. And within, okay, this pool, it functions similarly because it's also a decentralized exchange. It has pools, okay, but you will notice that these pools all have stable coins. Now, one of the other things, okay, that makes these liquidity pools are available in Curve is that they have other functionalities. Like for example, there's a compound liquidity pool, okay, that actually would put those tokens into work, okay, into the lending protocols and compound. Or let's say, for example, this Y pool, okay, which would actually put those stable coins also in there to work and earn more yield, okay, for the people for the liquidity providers who have provided liquidity to this. And because of this, there's Curve Finance, okay, has gained a tremendous amount of traction, okay, over the last 6 months. Particularly in June, when the Compound Finance Protocol launched their governance token, their volumes jumped, okay, up to $200 million, and then a month later, Curve hit I think they hit a peak of about 550 million, and we have with us today. So we have with us today Michael Igorov, okay, who is the founder of Curve.fi. Thank you so much for being with us, Michael.
Yeah, nice to be with you today.
So my first question, okay, for you is that with all the traction, okay, and the parabolic growth, okay, that the DeFi space is getting over the last 6 months, how are you taking it, okay? What is the headspace, okay, that that you are in? Are you happy, okay, with the amount of traction that this is getting? Are you buying Lambos? Are you like doing fist pumps, okay?
Yeah, I would say that, yeah, this for me, this doesn't necessarily convert to Lambos, but yeah, this growth is pretty incredible to observe. I think it started to be so explosive after Compound introduced the incentives to use their protocol. And in fact, we ourselves thought to introduce the incentives, but some other protocols introduced them before. And we've noticed something interesting, that when other protocols introduce incentives, this very often involves swapping stablecoins, and that empowers growth of Curve as well.
So one of the interesting things, okay, that Curve does, okay, is that you are able to swap very large amounts, okay, of stablecoin from one stablecoin to another stablecoin with really low slippage fees. Can you just briefly give, okay, the community why is that the case, okay? How is it different from, say, swapping, okay, with Uniswap?
Yeah. I think it's fairly easy to explain. On Uniswap, you don't make any assumption about the price. So liquidity is distributed uniformly across all prices. So if your price changes by a factor of 2, you have some liquidity. If it changes by a factor of 10, you have some liquidity, and so on. On Curve, we do make assumption that the price is very close to some value, let's say 1.0. So all stablecoins are like relative to each other. They tend to 1.0 price. And so we focus most of liquidity within a very narrow region around this price, maybe within 1%, or for some pools like Y pool, maybe more than 50% is within 0.1%. And yeah, that works very effectively, and like very tight liquidity concentration works really well for redeemable stablecoins, and something like 1%, which is not as tight, works better for algorithmic stablecoins like DAI or SUSD.
Can you share with the community, like a lot of people, they think, okay, that Curve is an overnight success. Can you share a little bit, okay, about like how you started Curve? How did you started Curve, and why did you did that?
Mhm. Yeah, so for some time I was thinking about liquid staking, and also I was running some trading bots with algorithms probably similar to what Bancor 2 has. And also, I'm an active user of DeFi since 2018, and I always had this need to swap stablecoins. So at some point, I came up with this algorithm which allows to swap these stablecoins with very, very low slippage. And since it looks like the market desperately needed it, I launched it in January. And it was growing very quickly. So it grew up fairly fast. It grew up to maybe 10, 15 millions. And it was sitting at about this level for some time, enjoying like different liquidity mining programs like synthetics, like with synthetics. And but like the real explosion started happening when liquidity mining incentives appeared.
Became a thing.
Wild.
But can I ask, actually, the compound by far is the, I would say, the catalyst, okay, that did that. But you were already having product market fit. You were already
Yes.
having traction before that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
who are the main users, okay, who actually, like the first users of the Curve?
Yeah, I mean, we not necessarily we can't say because we don't track these users, but I would say that it's partly it's DeFi users initially who needed to, let's say, often swap DAI with something. Then of course there was some artificial demand with liquidity mining incentives, and there was some real demand with synthetics because this SUSD provides a very, very good gateway to enter and exit synthetics ecosystem, helping basically traders to get in there, trade there, and get out. And later, after these liquidity mining incentives boosted the total value locked, it appeared that Curve makes a deal probably better than OTC desks. And this probably, I think, I'm not exactly sure, but I think Curve started being used as an OTC desk more or less. Their swaps are, we started observing really huge swaps.
So we have a question, okay, from Vietnam. One of the people they are asking, okay, one of the generally the consensus, okay, of the successes of Curve mostly used was last month, okay, when one of the pools, okay, was generating a lot of yield. Now this is Y pool, okay. It was a collaboration between the Curve protocol as well with Andre Cronier's his Wi-Fi token, right?
Yes.
Now the Wi-Fi token, he said that there's zero value. Okay. It's a very, very interesting podcast. Okay. I highly recommend the community to listen into the Bankless Nation podcast. But can you just spend a little very quickly, what was the main intent actually for Y-Pool? Okay.
Yeah, Y-Pool exists since February, and the main intent was to use it to use profit switching lending from iEarn. So iEarn allows to choose automatically which lender to use depending on which one is the most profitable, and we integrated this. And it was working well. And after that, at some point, Andrew decided to build some new products, and obviously this was one of the existing products. So he decided to introduce liquidity mining incentives simply to distribute the token, which and which later provides the framework for decentralizing all the products which are getting built. Since Curve was in collaboration with Curve, this Y pool was like the most used product of iEarn platform. That's why this distribution was decided to be done this way.
Okay, I get it. Now, I want to ask, okay, that because I learned a lot, okay, from Andre Cornier's podcast, that when there's a price component, okay, that is placed upon these governance tokens, it creates this conflict, okay, between those who are actually they care about the project as well, and the conflict, okay, with people who actually buy, okay, because they're speculating on the price. Now, Curve is also launching a governance token as well. Okay, having seen, okay, all these events that has happened to other protocols, okay, have you given thought, okay, about how you would maybe do it differently or anything like that?
Right. Well, I mean, we planned it even before those protocols appeared. And I think the important point is to have not only supply of the token, but also demand for the token, where merely like simply governance is probably not necessarily good enough demand. And although like the biggest source of demand is something we can still call governance, because the token decides how the rewards are split between the pools.
Okay.
And also having a token can basically boost the token production as well. So it's kind of, there is some game theoretic element to this. And also, of course, eventually the governors can always vote for fees, but not necessarily that should happen early on. So, and of course, it will be still kind of a journey when the DAO is up to explore these mechanisms for incentives and for the demand for the token as well.
We have two questions, okay, from the community. One question is, are there any plans to include other stable coins in the immediate future? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely possible. There are quite many stable coins out there. And I probably couldn't really say right now which exactly, but there are quite some which can be introduced.
So another question, okay, it comes from Chanel Chua, who is from the Philippines. She asked a question, what is the design choice, okay, why the UI, okay, of Curve? What is that thought process behind the UI?
Yeah, I mean, it's the UI was basically created when I was working on the first prototype, because like I just liked it this way. But when it was launched, it appeared that some people in community really love it, but at the same time, some other people really don't like it. So it creates some divided opinions, which create a lot of discussions, and this creates a lot of marketing by itself. And I thought, well, I mean, okay, if this is this kind of thematic design, maybe we can keep it. And really, our users just really begged us to not change it, to not throw it away. So.
All right, we have two more questions. Okay, I know that you are really in rush for time. Okay, the first question that I'd like to ask you, okay, is that currently, what do you think, okay, of the state of what you see right now in the DeFi? Do you see it as healthy, not so healthy? We just let you know your thoughts.
It depends. I mean, there is definitely quite a lot of hype, maybe a little bit too much hype. That's true. But at the same time, I truly believe that DeFi is going to take a good part of the world financial system. I don't know how quickly it will happen, but it's moving in that direction, and it definitely has utility, and it did have utility before any incentives. So I think it will get there. It's just wouldn't be um, like it wouldn't be always on the vertical rise like today.
Right. Right. So that's the thing, okay? And I think that we have, that seems to be the recurring pattern, okay, as we brought on the other speakers like Kane, Warwick, and Robert Leshner, that there's this a thing, okay, which is quite worrisome in the space, where people tend to evaluate, okay, DeFi projects, okay, when it's a green candle, okay, then it's like the best project in the world, you're the best team, but when it's a red candle, then you're a scam, okay, and people start to be very verbally abusive and things like that. That's really not cool.
Well, I mean, it's probably really the DeFi project should be evaluated by the use of the actual projects themselves rather than the speculation on the project token. And as of today, Curve still doesn't have the token out, and we do have a lot of use. So I think this is something good.
So I have one last question, okay, for you before you go. This one is for you, okay, for the community, okay, in Southeast Asia, from the listeners listening from Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam. What would you like, okay, us, okay, to do? How can we help? How can we help you? How would you like the community to help you?
Well, I mean, we always like to talk to community and get feedback, and this really helps to shape the project. So this is definitely something we like, and something we always look forward.
So where's the best place, okay, where, what's your favorite communication vehicle to, get feedback?
Yeah, we have Telegram, we have Discord, and those can get quite interactive feedback. And even when users have problems, we solve them pretty quickly and making the product better.
All right. Okay, with that, okay, I'd like to say thank you so much again, Michael, for being part of Southeast Asia DeFi Week. I hope that things go smoothly, okay, for Curve on your side, and that you'll be back soon.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much, Michael. Good night.
Bye.
So that was Michael Igorov, okay, founder of Curve. Right now, okay, I'd just like to spend, okay, a few minutes, okay, to talk about what's happening in the DeFi space. It looks like there's just a lot of we're starting to see a pattern, right? Okay, and I hope that in this entire week, okay, or 7 days, you start to notice that there are two basically very distinct groups in the DeFi space. Though the people that you see right now who are like Compound, Aave, Synthetics, okay, they are building real things, okay? They are building money Legos. They are not perfect. They are all in alpha stage. There can be failures. One particular experiment, okay, today that went very, very wrong is the YAM token, for example. Oh, they were very clear from the beginning that this is very high risk. The smart contract, okay, was not audited. Okay, they took bits and pieces from the best protocols and basically pieced together something, and they wanted to create an experiment. It attracted a huge amount of liquidity, okay, within 24 hours, and it turned out that a smart contract bug was what created the project to fail. So again, this is the DeFi is not for everyone. It is something which, technology-wise, if you don't like technology is probably, like, for example, if you don't like, okay, to operate, say, the MySejahtera app or this mobile app or that, it's probably not for you. But if you love technology, if you have that curiosity as to what the future might be, this is a very exciting space because we are seeing a lot of things that we have never seen before, and it's moving at an accelerated pace. It's so hard to keep up, okay, with what's going on, who's building what, and that's why we bring this special series of events for you over the next 5 days. So we're now waiting, okay, for Fernando Martinelli from Balancer Labs, okay, to join us. I think, what would you like to talk about right now? Okay, since we do have some time while waiting, let me know in the chat, okay, any questions that you have, okay, about what we have covered so far. We have covered so much, okay, from the many different lending protocols. What are the other interesting things, okay, that you hope to learn, okay, in the space? Because we do have, okay, quite a lot more lineup, okay. I'm particularly looking forward to tomorrow, actually, because gas fees are really crazy high right now. Last I checked, I think 300 it has hit 300 Gwei. Now, for those who don't know, gas fees are basically transaction fees that you have to pay to get your transactions through the Ethereum blockchain. And Ethereum is going through really high demand right now. It's both a good and a bad thing as well, because it prevents, okay, people who it's definitely a barrier when, you know, your transaction fees, okay, can be like $10 whether you are sending, you know, 100,000 or $1 million worth of money, or you're sending $100 to have a $10 transaction fee is really a problematic thing. So very happy, okay, that Michael could join us for the call earlier. Really can understand, okay, why the DeFi space today has been particularly crazy. How about you? You know, we are seeing, okay, just so many new different, okay, new things, okay. There's ample forth. There's things that I have not got my head around to is to understand things like Chainlink. Wow, sometimes it's just mind-boggling. Right now it's 8:50 p.m. All right, so while waiting for Fernando Martinelli, why not let's take a 10-minute break, okay, and be right back here, okay, in 10 minutes, okay, and we'll ping you guys, okay, in the comment sections once Fernando gets here. All right, so I'm going to put up, okay, the screen for now. See you guys in 10 minutes.
I think I worry too much to do now. My heart starts racing over little things I think about. Maybe nothing matters, no. Maybe I should breathe, but I've been so high strung, tightly wired up. I just don't know how to chill. Would it kill me just to try? Take a sec for myself. Cause I don't know why I always spiral instead. But a voice inside my head said I should care. That I should care. It's all these crazy thoughts like, will you always like me? Will we be alright, or why will I make lots of money and live out in the hills with a life that people envy? How easy can I lose it all and watch it fall around me? I just don't know how to chill. Would it kill me just to try? Take a sec for myself. Cause I don't know why I always spiral instead. But a voice inside my head said I should care. That I should care. That I should care. I don't know why I always spiral. Maybe I should care. Feeling careless. Would it kill me just to try and take a sec to myself? Cause I don't know why I always.
All right, okay, we are back, okay, with part 3 of day 4 of Southeast Asia DeFi Week. Right now, we're going to talk about Balancer. Very quickly, okay, Balancer. Over the last, 4 days, you have learned, okay, different kinds of money Legos. And one of those money Legos you have learned, okay, is Uniswap, okay, which is a constant product liquidity pool of between two assets, right? Balancer is interesting because Balancer allows people to create liquidity pools of not just two assets but multiple assets, okay? And these, if you visit the Balancer website, okay, you can visit the platform, you can actually see the different kinds of pools that people do, and it's also a form of constant product because people can determine what kind of percentage that those pools would have. And we have today the co-founder of Balancer, Fernando Martinelli, okay, with us today. Thank you so much for being with us at Southeast Asia DeFi Week, Fernando.
Hi everyone, how's it going? Nice to be here.
So the first question, okay, that I like to ask you, Fernando, is that DeFi, okay, is getting so much traction, okay, right now. I'm going to ask you the same question that I ask each of the every speakers is how are you coping with all the traction right now, okay? Do you do a fist bump, okay, every morning when you wake up in the morning, okay? Do you know, pop the champagne, okay, and like buy Lambos and things like that?
It's a lot of work. We're very happy to see so much traction and interest, especially of other projects building on top of Balancer. Not much of the numbers themselves, like prices and total liquidity. That's also very exciting, but we're here for the long term, and our objective is to be a primitive for other projects to build on top of. So it's overwhelming, at the same time very, very interesting to see lots of projects like contacting us and really building on top of Balancer. And you see like examples like BZX and Aave using Balancer at the core of their tokenomics and modules, how the system works. So this is really, really exciting, and is a good reason for us to keep sleeping little and working a lot to make this all happen. Yeah, so I'm very excited. I'm sleeping little, working a lot, but this is really what I'm here for, and it's work that I love to do. So I couldn't ask for more.
Wow, I love your energy. The next question that I'd like to ask you, okay, that is a lot of people, they just assume, okay, that and they tend to make, because of the parabolic growth that they see and the craze and the speculators that are just insurmountable and coming in right now. They draw a lot of comparisons, okay, with uh, the 2017, and they make the ICO days, right? And they think, okay, that these DeFi protocols are all like overnight successes, okay, which is not true. So part of the
No.
reason we created this this entire week, okay, is to invite all of you, okay, Compound, Robert Leshner, and etc., to actually, share with us, like for Balancer, okay, can you share with us how old is the project?
Project is over 2 years old, and only a few people know that. Yeah, so it's nice, and that's something that a lot of people say sounds cheesy, but it really takes a long time to become an overnight success, as you say, Jason. So it took a lot of many pages of paper to get to the equations that make Balancer possible, many nights without sleeping, and then lots of design and modeling and simulations to see if that really works. Then, like, Uniswap helped us a lot to prove to people that it worked, because Balancer, the idea, the framework, the mathematical formulas, they existed before even Uniswap existed or was launched. And Uniswap was kind of a great way to prove that automated market makers did work. So with all the traction and success. So yeah, that was when we started getting more confidence from investors. That's when we started, getting like really to code and getting things kind of together to be able to launch earlier this year in March, end of March. So yeah, the maybe a bit about the story of Balancer, or maybe is that okay as an answer, or should
Yeah.
I use the
So
segue?
please go on. Please go on. Please go on.
Yeah, sure. So a bit more about the story behind Balancer. I've been involved with crypto very early, from very early on, like early 2013, when there was no Ethereum. I loved the idea of Ethereum. I was always of the opinion that stablecoins are the killer apps for crypto. So you saw Bitcoin going up from a few dollars, maybe late 2012, to $1,000 in 2013, and that scares people. So I thought, yeah, there has to be a way to have stablecoins. And when Ethereum and smart contracts came out, I thought this is kind of the way to go to get to stablecoins. And very early on, when I heard of MakerDAO, I got involved, did some collaboration with them, and I was really bullish on the project. And that's when I met Nikolai, who was a co-founder of Balancer, and wrote a lot of the smart contracts that we launched in our first version. And I met Rune and other guys, and a lot of the team of Balancer today comes from the early MakerDAO days. So this is kind of our community stemmed from the MakerDAO community in the early days. And this is how Mike McDonald, who was the creator of MKR.tools, also very early on involved in the MakerDAO community. He joined the team as co-founder and CTO. And yeah, this is kind of just to explain that we have a lot of the DNA of the early days of MakerDAO.
So that's really, really cool. And one of the things that I see, the similarities, okay, what's happening in the DeFi space really mirrors, okay, that of basically a tech startup, okay? You need to find a product market fit. And as I go through, okay, all the different notable DeFi projects, okay, getting traction right now, is that they have found their product market fit. Can you help, okay, give the community here like a very quick understanding of what was the first product market fit for Balancer, and has that changed, okay, and is it something else right now?
That's a great question. So product market fit has a lot to do with to be able to see an early product market fit, you have to be working very closely with the end user.
Yeah.
And I think Curve is an awesome example of product market fit. They really hit the sweet spot there for stable coins being traded with low slippage. We see our product market fit more a layer down. So we are kind of enabling others to build on top of Balancer. And that doesn't mean that end users cannot benefit from Balancer. And I see a lot of pools like the 80-20 Maker ETH pool, MKR ETH pool. So a lot of people who invested in MKR early on, even Nikolai, one of the co-founders, of course, has more or probably they have more money in MKR than in ETH. And if they were to provide liquidity to Uniswap, they would have to either like leave some money sitting there idly or to sell a lot of MKR for ETH to get to the 50-50 proportion, right? So that they are able to deposit. So Balancer allows them to just deposit what they have, 80-20, 90-10. So it's a clear like simplification of how they can use automated market makers and earn some interest on top of the liquidity they provide. So I see that idea of also index funds, since now we're seeing a liquidity pool not so much as a way to enable exchange, which is what Uniswap I think is focused on, like the exchange side. We see the liquidity pools as the end itself, and the exchange is kind of a means to make sure that the liquidity pools are rebalanced and are profitable, because the traders are the ones that are generating fees. So we see the liquidity pools or the liquidity providers as our like special #1 user we want to focus on and make sure they're happy. Of course, we care about the traders too and make sure that our SOR is working well and everything. But we see traders more as a consequence. If there's a lot of liquidity, then there's going to be a lot of trade.
Yes, agree. Okay, because yes, because the highest amount of liquidity will attract definitely the most amount of traders. Now, I'd like to zoom in a little bit, okay, with the synergy that you and Curve actually have. Okay, can you like give some clarity as to what makes this composition between Curve and Balancer such a fit? Okay, what problems are you solving for Curve, and what why is it a really good fit? Okay, for what do the Balancer pools actually do for Curve? Because a lot of people they just, how do I say, they deposit, okay, they're just yield farming, right? They put their money, okay, into Curve, and then they earn the Balancer tokens. So this is a two-part question. The first one is that what is the synergy, okay, between Curve and Balancer like? How do the Balancer pools actually solve Curve's problem or add value?
Sure.
And then the second part is then we talk about the Balancer token.
Awesome. So sure. So there's a very clear difference between how Curve and Balancers like each specializes in use cases. So Curve is working more on pools that have pegged assets. So different types of wrapped Bitcoin or different types of dollars. So USDC, DAI, and whatever other stable coins. And Balancer is focusing, and we are seeing that more actually from the community. The community realized that this is what Balancer should focus on and be very good on. It's not that we don't want to have pools with stable coins or pegged assets, but Curve is doing a great job there already. So why are we gonna like try to compete if that's
Or
really there?
reinvent the wheel.
Reinvent the wheel, exactly. If that's their sweet spot. So that's the community actually speaking. And one of the ways we kind of decided to focus more on assets that are not pegged, for example, ETH and DAI. One of the ways the community decided to do that is actually using what you mentioned, Jason, the token liquidity mining that we have, the BAL liquidity mining. We're giving less BAL to pools that have pegged assets. Why? Because those pools are generating less volume than they would, for example, for the same liquidity on Curve, because Curve has doesn't have the weights fixed. So one pool can have a lot more of the stablecoin that's worth less than the others. So the pool will accumulate the ones that are less worth, and then when the other coin becomes less worth, then it flips. So it's more flexible in terms of weights. So I think if you trade anywhere like on 1inch or Paraswap, any aggregator, and you want to go from, let's say, DAI to wrapped Bitcoin, it's very possible that 1inch will go from DAI to USDC on Curve, and then from USDC to wrapped Bitcoin on Balancer. So I really see those two projects complementing each other very well.
Okay. Now, the next thing that I'd like to ask, okay, about is on the team. Okay, Balancer. We heard from other projects, okay, and we seem to be getting different answers as to how the project, okay, came to be about, okay, and who was building the project and how it came to be the current version. So in the case of Compound, it started as a company, okay, and the company still exists, but they decentralized the protocol, and now it's like operated based on a DAO. Synthetics is going through a different thing as well. What is the case for Balancer? Did you start off as a company, and are you still a company right now? Are you a DAO? Who's building Balancer right now?
Great question, Jason. So I think part of the reason is because we stem from the early MakerDAO days. Our culture is very much focused on decentralization. So we want to be a protocol that works like autonomously without any centralized party controlling it. That's definitely our goal. And we know that this is not possible to be to be done overnight, or you cannot really, there's a few examples of projects that really start this in a decentralized way without an investor who pays salary for people to pay their bills and have time to really focus on a product and a project. So we started as a company that is paying the salary of all the developers, that's paying all the audits, that's
Right.
paying all the legal work and necessary in the back end. So there's a lot of cost there that we are using this entity to pay. So that there's an entity called Balancer Labs, and the idea is that this company will be dissolved at some point. It will cease to exist, and we will then use the DAO. All Balancer token holders will decide how to pay for or to incentivize work around the Balancer protocol. So I see it kind of migrating to a more decentralized, common good, like Ethereum or Linux in the long term. So that's the end vision here. So the BAL token is exactly where this comes into play. So the BAL token will be used to decide the future of the protocol. It will be used to decide to who go the grants, or who's going to be paid for what development in Balancer v3, v4, v5. So yeah, that's the idea.
So we have 5 questions, okay, coming in, okay, from the community right now. The first question is from Singapore. Fernando. They are asking you, what is your opinion, okay, as in the state of DeFi right now? Okay, is it good? Is it not healthy? What are your thoughts and where we are right now?
So crypto is like the Wild West. No one needs KYC. Everything's done in a trustless way. There's hackers everywhere waiting for a bug for them to hop on and extract money. There's people who want to deceive others and are creating projects in the shoes of other successful projects just to do exit scams. So I see this all as a great experiment that's turning out to work. Among all those different projects and protocols, and there's more popping up every day, we can't really keep up with everything that's happening actually. I see that there's going to be a few who are going to be around for the mid to long term and really will help revolutionize the financial world. I do believe that you can differentiate projects that are I wouldn't say there's only a few scams. Many other projects are just not like really well organized and won't really turn into a success. But you can really look at the team and how serious like the communities are to tell the wheat from the chaff, so you can differentiate what's really good from what's not. But I see like all the volume in trades, all the liquidity locked up in Ethereum protocols. You saw DeFi's total value locked crossing 1 billion, then 2 billion, 3 billion, 4 billion really
4
fast.
billion,
So,
8 billion, 16 billion. It was crazy. When we set up the Eventbrite page, okay, for this event, okay, it was 8 billion, right? Okay, the moment we click, okay, launch, right, it basically went to 16, and we had
yeah.
to, yeah, it
You
was
have
it
to
was
filter
crazy.
that, of course. Yeah, you have to filter that because there's a lot of double dipping or kind of recycling of money. So you can you can do like an inception, like you put money in Bouncer, then you have an ERC20, then you put Curve, and in Curve you go here to there, and it's all the same money behind. So you have to put a grain of salt there in those numbers, but it's definitely a lot of money, and people are trusting that. And I see like, and maybe it's a good segue to the topic of liquidity mining. I think that liquidity mining is like a revolution. It's really, I don't see it much through the lens of the meme, which is yield farming. To me, yield farming is more like you're kind of more exploiting and just getting your crop and then selling it and then getting a quick buck. I see like liquidity mining as more of a way to decentralize, and that's how Balancer sees it. It's a way to decentralize governance. There's no way we can be a successful decentralized project if the founders, the advisors, and the investors hold a majority of the tokens, right? So we have to distribute the tokens, and we have to dilute all the founders, all the investors, and we have to have the community hold the majority of the tokens. And that takes time. That's a long-term process. And liquidity mining is, to me, the best way we came up with so far to do that. Like people thought of airdrops, people thought
Yeah,
of like giveaways.
yeah.
To me, like it's the best way is to give ownership to the people that use your protocol, that understand your protocol, that have the best interest of your protocol in mind.
It's interesting. This is going to be my takeaway for tonight. Okay, that liquidity mining, okay, is not. It's not. You know the meme. Okay, it's the best way to give community ownership. Okay, and decentralize. Give it to the community, and they have a stake in it. There's something. Okay, that they, a skin in the game per se, because they are providing liquidity for it and they're getting rewarded for it. It's really,
Absolutely.
really interesting. We have a question, okay, from Yong. Okay, he's asking something related to the interface in itself. He says that there are private and there are shared pools. Okay, can you elaborate on that, on
Of
Balancer?
course. Of course. So balancer pools are, when they are created, they are by default private pools, which means that the creator of that pool is the only address allowed to put liquidity in that pool. But at the same time, it can change anything about that pool. It can change the weights. So you can start a pool as a 50-50 WETH and DAI. But then you add a third token. You can bind a new token, let's say MKR, and then you have 25, 25, 50% MKR. You can change the trading fee. So you can go from 0.1 to 0.3 to 1%. You can do whatever you want. Now, you have a choice to also let others invest, add liquidity to that pool, which is what actually Uniswap is. All the Uniswap pools are shared, are free for anyone to join. When you do that, it's a one-way step. It's a one-way function where you say, let me make this pool shared. From that point on, nothing is changeable or nothing can change in that pool. And then anyone can provide liquidity, and you as the owner, you have no special rights anymore. It's over. Like that pool is it's a common good. So why is that necessary? Because if people put their money and you still as the owner could change things in that pool, you would be able to steal people's money. You would just say like, I'm gonna add my new token here, I'm gonna dump all my token and withdraw the other tokens. So so Balancer has this great flexibility of allowing, let's say, an index fund or a big investor to say, I want to have my pool, but I want to change it. If I want to increase my exposure to ETH, I'll change the 50-50 to 20-80. So I'll increase the weight of ETH. If there's times of higher volatility, I'm going to increase the trading fee. So people have to pay more to trade with my pool. So and the nice thing about private and shared pools is that there's actually a third option, which is what we call the smart pools. And this is really interesting. So a smart pool is nothing but a smart contract that owns a private pool, and that smart contract works as a gateway for external people to be able to provide liquidity to that private pool. How does that work? Like this smart pool controller here accepts liquidity from someone, means it's on your C20 shares, gives it back to the liquidity provider, and then puts the liquidity down to the pool it controls. Now, the nice thing is that this smart pool controller can act just like a shared pool where people just put money and get it out, but it can actually have some arbitrary logic. For example, all I can do is change the trading fee. So now whenever there's high volatility, I'm automatically going to increase the trading fee so that the pool I control is going to be more profitable. So that it's like Uber, like when it's Friday night raining, people don't want to drive, so prices go up to invite more drivers to the streets. This is exactly the idea. So that controller says, there's a lot of demand, I'm going to increase the trading fees. That will make this pool more profitable. It will attract more liquidity providers to put liquidity in that private pool, which in turn will make the private pool better for traders because the slippage will go down, right? So the concept of smart pools is really interesting. You can also have a DAO controlling how this private pool is managed. So the DAO says, okay, let's all increase the exposure to WETH. And then the private pool, the smart pool can change the exposure of WETH of the private pool that it controls.
So we have 3 questions coming in, okay, right now. The questions are coming in. So one question, okay, is from Thailand, okay. I think it's Thailand because she says Sawadee-ka, okay, and she says that I'm from the banking sector, and she wants to know, okay, like for balancer pools, okay, are there any like talks right now? Okay, do you talk to people from the CeFi space? Okay, are there any use cases for that, or is it still too early?
We do. So there's a lot of people interested from CeFi and even from outside of crypto who heard of Balancer as like this way to have index funds that are self-balanced. It's the early days, right? There's a lot of legal implications of an index fund. You have to have KYC, you have to control like who trades sometimes. So there is a lot of potential there. There's really, like today, if you want to invest in an index fund, you have to pay like a management fee, a performance fee, because that index fund has to abide by so many laws, and there has to be an admin that goes out and rebalances that index fund actively. So that you have to pay that person's salary. You have to pay all the exchange fees. So what Balancer does is it kind of merges or matches without a middleman, the two worlds of asset management and exchange. So instead of having to pay fees for both things, you just have one protocol that matches those two markets.
So a question just came in, okay, and it asks, say if I'm creating new tokens called JSON, if I had a private pool with hypothetical JSON tokens and ETH, how can I configure the initial pricing for that new token? What is this question? I don't
Great
get
question. And you know what? It's interesting. You know Evan van Ness?
Yes.
Ness, yeah, he actually did exactly that, but his tokens are even tokens. So it's up to you. The answer is you can just say if I want a pool that is 50-50 and I create JSON and ETH, if you start that pool 50-50 means that half the value of the pool will be in ETH and the other half in JSON. So if you put one JSON token and one ETH, it means that will be the price. JSON will be worth 1 ETH. If you have a pool that's 80% ETH and 20% JSON, and there's 4 ETH and 1 JSON, it means that the price will be 1-to-1 because 1 JSON should be worth 20%. So what's 20% out of JSON plus 4 ETH? it's 1 ETH. So if you say it's 2080 and you have 4 ETH and 1 JSON, JSON will be worth 1 ETH. So you can by changing the weights and the balances, you can calculate what the price is. So the price in a balancer pool is always a consequence of the combination of balances and weights.
So another question is that are these pools fixed? Okay, once they're created, they're on chain, they can't be changed already.
Correct. All the smart contracts in Balancer are totally immutable. There's no admin keys. There's no kill switches. It's going to be working for as long as Ethereum works. No one can do anything about it. And we've done 3 major audits with Trader of Bits, with Consensus Diligence, and with Open Zeppelin, so the best auditors out there. And they haven't found any issues. So the code is really tight and has been battle tested. But yeah, so as I said, if you're the creator of a private pool, you can still change the parameters of the private pool, but you cannot change the code itself. And all the shared pools are immutable. The parameters can be changed.
So Leslie from Singapore asked a question. He says, "I'm a noob, okay, in DeFi. Where do I begin to get to know and kind of like experiment, okay, with Balancer?"
Great question. So you can go to our main website, balancer.finance, and then read a little bit. Then you can take a look at the Medium articles about what you can build with Balancer. You can go to our Discord. I think our Discord is a great place for you to ask people. There's a lot of community members there that are helping each other. So you can say, "I'm a noob here, just want to start. What should I do?" And people will give you suggestions. So the community really helps one another. It's great. So Discord is a great place to start. And yeah, so there's two main front ends for Balancer: the trader front end and the pool management front end. So I would suggest you to just do one trade to start, like exchange like a little bit of ETH for DAI, and you're gonna see how it works, and then you can provide liquidity on the pool management side. And you're gonna have all the pools that you showed, Jason, at the beginning of our chat. You showed like all the list of pools. You can filter by the tokens that you want to provide liquidity with. So let's say you're bullish on MKR and WETH. And you can put WETH and MKR, and you only see the pools that have those 2 tokens. And then you can compare the fees, the profitability, the volumes, everything. You can decide where to add your liquidity to.
So we have a question from Young. He says that adding on to Colbert's question earlier, it seems like an institutional fund, okay, can create its own token mix, okay, with other named cryptos, and create a flagship fund. I think that this is definitely possible, but because they are institutional, they have to, get regulators buy-in in order to create this. Am I correct?
Yes, you are. So this is definitely something that some institutions are looking at, and I think that the main challenge here is the legal, the regulatory challenge here. Yeah.
Are they going to classify this as securities and etc. etc.
Right.
Now we have a question from the audience. Do not know whether have you been following on the YAM incident in the last 2 days?
I just marginally kind of read some tweets that there was a bug and the community has to come together to save the smart contracts by approving a proposal. That's all I know, but curious to know more if you want to share that.
So for me, I was actually looking at YAM, as an experiment. I read about it. I kind of understood, the top level of it, and it was really, really interesting. So I just thought to myself, I'm in, all right. I know I accept that this is high risk, there's really high uncertainty, but I would like to have a skin in the game, and I like to see what this is about. And I did it as well, there was a problem, paid the gas fees, it was a lot of money, tried to go and save the M token, and then my friend called me, in the afternoon and says that, Jason, it was just after, talking to Synthetics today, right? And he called me and he says, Jason, Yam is dead. And I said that no, Yam is not dead. It was, but I was basing on old information already. I did not realize that there was a second bug, okay, that really rendered the entire smart contract or the functionality of the Yam token totally unusable already. So it's really
Didn't know that.
sad. It's really, really sad. For me, I think there's a huge, big difference between when an experiment fails and versus a scam. Okay. In this particular case, there was no pre-mine. Okay. Everything was upfront. Okay, from the beginning, and yeah, I think that if there's one message, okay, I'd like to just say out loud to my community is that there is a huge distinction, okay, between a project that failed, okay, versus a scam.
Absolutely. I saw their like starting page saying like, this is not audited, this is not safe. Make sure you know what you're doing. I think that scams actually do the opposite. They say this project is great. It's going to give you 10% a month. Come join us. Right?
Yes.
You can tell it by just the initial warnings that you see. It's kind of tells a lot. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, thank you so much, okay, for being with us, okay, for Southeast Asia DeFi Week, Fernando. I'm pretty sure, okay, that everyone, okay, who's tuning in right now from all parts of Southeast Asia, okay, have much more clarity as to what you have built, okay, at Balancer. Some of them might be even excited, okay, to join the Discord channel and read the documentation, learn a little bit more, get started, whether it's a newbie, advanced user, a developer. The last question, I'm going to leave it for you, okay? Why not you ask, if there's one thing, okay, that you'd like to ask, okay, from our community, okay, what would that be? How can we help you? How can people from Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam, Singapore, Malaysia, okay, listening in, help, okay? What is it that Balancer needs right now?
I think we need engagement and people being part of the protocol, and we need different mindsets, different types of reasonings and rationales. So I would really incentivize people to, or invite you to come join our Discord. There's channels for different languages there. So the team doesn't speak many languages, but we have like people helping now with Chinese, French, and Spanish. So it would be great if some of you like who really want to know more about Balancer and even in the future maybe get a grant for helping our community. So there's a few users that are very active that are kind of getting closer to the team and probably will join the team because they showed so much interest and so much work without even being asked or being paid, and that they will probably join the team. So come to our Discord, say that you're Malaysian or Indonesian or Taiwanese, whatever you are, and if you can help with another language or other people that might just ask some questions, it would be very, very nice if you could do that. So I don't know, Jason, if you can share a link with your audience right now, I can write it here.
Yep.
That is also on our website, but I just shared it with you there. And
Okay.
yeah, I mean, like the big favor you can do is join our Discord, try to use Balancer. If you can put some liquidity and help the protocol, you're gonna get some PAL tokens, and it would be great if you could get informed and vote with PAL tokens. So every week or second week, there's voting or votes that are up, so you can vote with your PAL token. You don't spend any gas. It's a carbon voting, so you just sign a message with your vote. So you don't need to spend any money in these days, like gas prices are so crazy. So you can vote without paying anything. So that would be the best way you can help out and spread the word as well. If you like Balancer, let your friends know about it, and come join us. Thanks,
All right.
thanks for asking. It's really nice, guys.
So, by the way, where are you calling from right now?
I live in Lisbon, but I'm calling from São Paulo, so I'm kind of here and there. But now I'm in
Okay.
Brazil.
Okay. All right. So, we've come to the end of the session. Okay. Thank you so much, okay, Fernando, for spending your 1 hour with us. to come back tomorrow, okay, same time at 3 p.m. Okay, tomorrow is a more lighter session. Okay, it's just okay 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. just 2 hours, and we have invited the founder of 1inch as well as the founder of Loopring, okay, to come share with us. You're going to learn about what they have built, okay, DEX aggregator, and how you can use an exchange to like save a lot of gas fees, which is crazy right now. It's like 300 gwei. Oh my god! All right. We forgot to ask you your comment on gas,
It's
Fernando.
scary. It's scary. Yeah.
It's crazy. Okay. Now, this is a question, okay, that a lot of people ask, okay, all the projects is that, is your project, okay, married to Ethereum? Because a lot of people say that, hey, what if, Polkadot or Cosmos, okay, is able to offer something much more better, right? Is Balancer married to Ethereum?
No, we're not. So the focus is 100% Ethereum today, and we are very bullish on Ethereum, even with the high gas prices. We believe that this is a problem, but it will be solved. But we don't believe that there has to be only one winner. So we are this agnostic protocol that can be deployed on other layer ones, on layer twos as well. We're talking now to Near. Near was very interested in deploying all the balancer contracts to their layer one. And what we're saying is that we don't have bandwidth. We're a very small team, but we would love to be implemented on other layer ones, because for us it's more use cases, it's new people using Balancer, and we can even give grants to help out and support all the technical side for that to happen. But we are not gonna focus or take the lead for porting Balancer codes to other layer ones. But we're talking to many other layer ones that are interested in importing Balancer. So yeah, the answer is focus is Ethereum, but we're open to being used on other protocols as well.
All right. So with that, okay, that concludes okay our session. I'm going to put in the feedback form into the chat room today because I forgot to do that. Okay. Do submit. Okay. Do give us your feedback. Okay. Let us know how did you find okay this session today, so that Fernando also knows okay if you enjoyed the session. What are the areas that we can improve to make the event better as well. And last but not least, okay, the top 10 best questions, okay, will get to win some sweet DAI. I think the giveaway is DAI today. So thank you so much, Fernando, for joining us, okay, and have a good night, everyone. Bye.
Bye, guys.